Hey everyone, I'm so excited to have you here. So today I wanted to talk about Google My Business and how it's great for local businesses. So a lot of my clients are local businesses, brick and mortar, or local service-based businesses. And so I help them get online, get exposure, and I help empower them with personal and business development tools to help their business thrive. So today, let's start with the Google My Business. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this. So it is probably the easiest thing that you can do as a business owner to get your business visible in your local community. So if you're a local business, whether you're a gym or a restaurant or you're a masseuse or you're a little shop that has awesome home decor, some of my favorites, Google My Business is going to be key for you. So I know that you all probably are very aware of SEO, and everybody talks about SEO and get your SEO going and how to build your SEO and rank #1 on Google. This is going to get you there faster. So I wanted to talk about how Google My Business is really, think of it as today's yellow pages. So, back in the day, you'd break out the book. I'm probably totally aging myself. This is when I was a kid. You'd break out the book and you'd look under the different services, or you'd look under a name if you knew the business's name. But if you didn't know the name, you'd have to go to the services. So that's exactly what Google does, except in a much quicker, faster way. So the #1 thing that people do when they're searching for a service in your area, they hit Google first, like Google GTS, go Google that. My husband always says GTS, it means Google that shit. So you can make it clean if you want, but that's what we say in our house, GTS it. And that's where we start. Like whenever we had a plumbing issue, and that's where I began. I hit Google, typed in, looked at the reviews on there, and then I started going over to their social media pages to get more information. So what people do these days is they collect as much information as they can. They ask their friends, they go on Google, they look at social, and then they call you. So if you're not on Google My Business, you're not being found. And the great thing about Google My Business is that it's free. You can get to the top of the search results without having to get your having to get SEO in play. You don't have to pay for ads. You just have to make sure that you're there and visible on Google My Business, and that you've captured your listing, and that you've optimized it with all the information necessary for somebody to get a hold of you. Because what happens is when you update your Google My Business listing, Google gives you a listing, and they give you a place to put in your phone number, your website. You can add photos, you can add your brand, you can add all sorts of information that, and categories and stuff like that, which we'll go through in this video, that will get you found. And this is a really easy place to get reviews as well. I know if you're in the restaurant industry, you're probably relying on Yelp, but you still need to focus on Google, because while a lot of people do go to Yelp when they're looking for services or restaurants, I think I really only use Yelp when I'm out of town and I'm looking for restaurants locally. Otherwise, I use Google most of the time. And even Google now has very similar listings, and they're so much easier to deal with than Yelp. That's a whole nother video, but Google My Business is really amazing. And the more reviews that you get, the higher your stars are, the better. And then this is the same, just like Yelp. If you don't claim your business listing, it doesn't mean there's not one there, and it doesn't mean people can't review your business. So if you're worried about negative reviews, it's always better to claim your listing, whether it's on Yelp or Google My Business, so that you can control, or at least see, when somebody does give you a not great review, you can reply to it with a really positive response and try to help that person and maybe turn them back into a customer, and show everybody else that even though you might have a negative review, you're willing to do something about it if it's something within your power. Now, there are some people out there that are trolls, and they're going to troll you no matter what. My clients get so frustrated by it, but it's the best thing that we can do is just have control over our business listing and respond to all positive and negative reviews. I love to respond to positive reviews because it makes them feel good. It makes them feel seen after they've, come and done a great thing for our business. So those are the reasons why I like Google My Business. And it's the easiest way. So if you're a new business and you have a new website and you haven't had time to get your SEO in order, like this really helps get you there a lot quicker. So you can be on, you get a listing on the maps, and then it makes it really easy also when you are ready to do Google Ads in your local area, which I highly recommend for local businesses, especially if you're starting out. It makes it easier to do that as well. So I'm looking at my list over here, sorry guys. So why I always recommend, aside from what I just said, Google is one of the top visited websites. 76% of people begin their searches on Google. So that just tells you that, when somebody is in your local service area, they're getting on their phone, they're gonna Google it. And when I look at analytics for a lot of my clients, most of the traffic, like a huge bulk of the traffic, is Google, and then there's like Safari and Bing. And those are very, it's very interesting. If you look at your Google Analytics, you'll see how much traffic is coming from each of those referral traffic. And so when you look at your website analytics, so you'll see how much or how little is coming from those other platforms. I'm not saying they're not relevant. Google is very relevant right now, and we need to leverage it as a local business. So people start, like I said, people start there, and when they search, you're gonna see, and I'm gonna share my screen with you, you're gonna see a map pack. And they call it the map pack, and really what it is, it's this. When you have your, when you've got your map, and then you've got listings under it, and then this right here is the fold. So the fold means when somebody's on a search result, those top things are what they see first. And it's really, like on a mobile phone, it's probably even smaller. So the fold is where they don't have to scroll. So they're seeing a result within that landing page, but in the search result there. So you really want to be above that. So I'm going to use our Carson Farmers Market as an example, and you'll see that throughout this presentation. So then you go down, and below the map pack, you're going to see these are the organic results. So this is where SEO comes in play on your website. So this is where, if you have good SEO, you want to be at the top of these results. But as you can see, when you're a local business and people are searching for you, really the true number one is this map pack. Like, that's my opinion. This map pack is really where you want to be. So you can get up in these results here by optimizing, completely filling out is what that means. When I say optimizing, that means you went into your Google My Business listing and you filled out all the information that is necessary for people to find you. Your category, and we'll go through this. So category, business name, ways to contact you. We do not have a phone number that we can send people to, so we have them go to our website. We do have a way for them to contact us via email, but you can see we have reviews. These are smaller markets, so I don't really want to compare us to that, but you can see we have 139 reviews. We ask for reviews because those are super important. I know that those are going to move us up. You can see we're at the top here. Part of it is probably because I was also in Carson when I was searching. So the only thing that's going to be above these right here are going to be ads. So those are something we can talk about another day, but Google ads are definitely important. You can see nobody's running any Google ads for the farmers market when I typed in farmers market. Otherwise, they'd be right here. So it's really good when you're figuring out the categories that we'll talk about in just a minute here, that you Google your business without the name. What would you Google? What would your audience Google if they were looking for your service? What are your services? If you have multiple services, type them in, see what the results are, and see what is coming up, because that's going to help you decide on your categories. So first you have to access your Google My Business. So if you have a listing, if you search on Google and you see over to the right, you're going to see maybe something like this. And it's going to say own this business with a question mark, or there's another way that it asks too. I think like claim my business, own this business. There's the other one, manage, own, and claim this business. So if you click on that, it will take you through the process to claim that business. So you're going to have to verify it with a location and or a phone number. It may not give you the option to do both, but that is going to be, you're just going to want to take the prompts right through that. So you'll click on that and it will ask you how, if you have multiple Google accounts, it'll ask you what account you want to be in. So you just select the Google account you want to manage this under. And then you click manage now. And then it will ask you to either go through the mail process or a phone process. Hopefully the phone process, it's so much easier, but the mail is okay too. Just make sure your address is right. I did run into one issue with a client who did not have a mailing address that matched. It was one of their old addresses where they didn't live anymore. That is a complicated issue, and there's a couple ways to go about doing it. You're gonna have to reach out to Google to get their help for that. So if you're creating a new Google listing, like if you type in your business and there's not anything, there isn't even like a little mocked up Google My Business listing for you, then you can just go into this business.google.com, and business.google.com is going to be the link you go to anytime you want to access your Google My Business listing to be able to get into that account. So you want to follow the prompts. Super easy. It will walk you right through it. That's what the beauty of Google is, that they're really good at explaining the walkthrough process. So follow the prompts, and then we'll talk about the pieces that you're going to run into below. So it's going to ask you for a business name. Make sure that your business name matches on every platform that you're on. It's really hard for people if your business name is different across social platforms, on your website, on Google My Business, on like if you have a store, if your store doesn't match all that, like if it doesn't match, people get a little confused, even if it's off a little bit. So I try to always have the exact handle that I can across every platform. So for instance, like my Facebook is @AmandaLong SMS, and it's the same on Instagram. And if you go to my website, it's my full business name. So I try to tie it all together so that it's very similar. People don't get confused. And this goes the same for Yelp, for Better Business Bureau, for your chamber listings, anything in your local area. You want to make sure it's consistent and matching across the board. So your category, this is where you're going to be able to choose what categories, what services. So think of your services, and you can start to, I think you could pick 2 for your listing, your main listing. And so we have farmers market and produce. This one was under review because we had just changed it, but so you can put your categories in, and this is where I said earlier, when you're looking on Google, check out your business and check out other people's businesses, what categories are in. That'll help you determine how to best optimize your page so that you get found in those searches. So if you're an HVAC company or if you're a restaurant, like you want to put those things in your categories and in your keywords. Your service area, so you do not have to have a physical business. So if you're a farmer and you don't want people just showing up on your property, you can just list a service area that you're in. You do not have to have an address. Now on the back end of Google, you will have to put in an address so that you can verify your location, but it doesn't have to show on your Google My Business listing. If you do have a physical address people can come into, put it in there, and you can see there's 2 different options for the address or the service area. And so you would just take out the address if you don't want it and add some service areas in. And you can add service areas in super easy. When you click on that, you can start typing in the names of the areas around you, zip codes, all of that, and it'll bring it up for you. So just make sure this is consistent again across all of your platforms, your social media, your website, all of that good stuff. One caveat here is they won't let you use like a UPS, if you're using a UPS store for your address to get mail and such, and maybe that's your address that you use on your emails and on your website, because there are some places that were required to have email or addresses. Google My Business does not like when you send it, and they usually know, and they'll tell you that it's not a valid address. So if in that case, just use a service area and you'll be fine. And then the cool thing is, Bing for Places, if you have your Google My Business set up, there's actually a prompt at the end that was really cool, really easy to do. And it just said, did you want to verify it? And if your Google My Business is verified, it will automatically verify your Bing Places for Business. So then you have a Bing listing too without even having to do much else. So that is pretty, that's pretty simple. I really like that. That was exciting when I saw that. I'm like, yes, please. So after you set up your Google My Business, what's really cool is you can watch your listings and your insights. So you can start seeing where people are coming in, what your total searches are. Are they direct searches, meaning that they typed in your business? Are they organic searches, meaning they're just typing in keywords? And then there's a really cool queries list. So it tells you the most popular queries that your business is being found by. So you'll get a list of a bunch more than just these. I'm showing you 5 here, and it'll tell you like the top hits, like how many users found you. You'll see grocery store, market, Sprouts, farmers market, flea market. So you'll see people are searching other things, and they're finding us as well. So this is a really useful tool when you want to see what some of the keywords are that people are finding you under. The other great thing is, so not just the total searches and the breakdown of that, but now you can see how many views you're getting on your Google My Business page. So this is where I see all of my clients really start getting some traction. Like I'm seeing a lot of clients who are getting more views on their Google My Business than they are getting traffic to their website. So that tells me that any local business needs to be having their optimized Google My Business page, and they need to be using it really well. And there's not a lot you have to do. This is the beauty of it. You don't have to update it all the time like social media. It's just there. People find you, and just make sure that your hours of operation are set correctly. Change those as you need to. As holidays come up, sometimes you'll get an email from Google that'll say, hey, are you really open this day? Make sure your phone number is there. Make sure that they can click over to your website. Just make sure they can reach you. There are a couple other things you can actually have people message you on Google My Business, and we get it all the time. From the farmers market, we'll get messages a lot that say, hey, are you open today? We heard this was going on like this last summer with the pandemic. We had a lot of in our area, we had like protests and we had some things going on, and we were downtown, but we were kind of set back just a little bit. But there were a lot of weekends actually people were like, hey, with the protests, are you guys still going to be open? So there were local area things happening that even though our hours said this is when we're open, people still wanted to just confirm, because you just never know. We were open, we didn't ever close, we never needed to have any issues, so that was good. But so now you can see that like people can reach out to you, and I think it's really good to talk to people where they are. So if they're on Google My Business and they're messaging you, answer them. If they have questions, answer their questions. Same with Facebook and Instagram. If people are messaging you there, I highly recommend you respond to them. I know it seems like a pain. I know it feels like it's that added thing that you've got to do, but if you just check those at least once a day, and you can set it up to alerts will be on your phone. So if you start getting too many of them, you can start adding some automated responses that say, hey, contact us here, send us an email. Better yet, like if you can send them to your website and send them to your shopping page or an ordering page, like people are really looking for ways to buy from you online. People don't want to have to come into the stores right now. They don't want to have to necessarily get on the phone with you. So if you can make it easy for them online to reach you and make orders, you're going to make their life easier. And that's what this is all about, is making the consumer's life easier. Your clients, your customers, you want to make it easy for them to give you money. So I highly recommend having a way for people to message you. Have your phone number on there. We have 0 calls, you'll see, because we don't have the phone number on here. And this isn't a down month, so our request for directions is actually pretty low, and so is our visit our website. But you'll see that, like, you can see where people are finding you at. So it's a great, really a great tool for local businesses in local areas to be able to reach and connect with each other. And it's just another place that helps you do less. That's what I love about this, is it's do less. It's not like you've got to put a lot of time into it. It's just getting it set up, verifying it, and make sure that you just keep it going. It's really amazing how much this helps local businesses. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you subscribe to get my next videos that are coming up. So we have another video on some marketing tips for local businesses and a few things that you can do to market in your local area, especially right now when things are a little bit tough. Thanks guys for being here with me today. If you have any questions, put them in the comments or visit the website, and you can find me on Instagram and Facebook as well at Amanda Long SMS.